So students, in the last lecture we have started a chapter on gamma functions. There we have seen the definition of gamma function as well as the properties of gamma function. We have seen how to write the definition of gamma function. You can see gamma function we have written into this symbol gamma n equal to integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x raised to n minus 1 dx. Also we have seen one example. Now let us see one more example here. It is already solved on the board. Evaluate integration 0 to infinity exp minus x by dx. It is nothing but exponential function. Exponential function is nothing but e raised to minus x square. We can write this into this form. So here, looking at the problem, we can see that it is similar to the definition of gamma function. There it is e raised to minus x and here it is e raised to minus x square. So we can use the definition of gamma function to solve this problem. So in definition we have there e raised to minus x and here is e raised to minus x square. So here we will bring x instead of x square. For that we need to assume something. So here we will put x equal to t raised to 1 half. If we put x equal to t raised to 1 half, so there it will become t. There it will become t. Actually we can also put x square equal to t if you want. But then we need to write down x equal to t raised to 1 half because we are converting the variable x in terms of new variable t. So it is better to take x equal to t raised to 1 half instead of this, because if we take x equal to t, then we can write x equal to plus or minus t raised to 1 half. So there is the confusion of plus or minus. So to avoid this confusion, it is better to take x equal to t raised to 1 half. So whenever we assume this one, then dx will also change. So dx means the derivative. The 1 half t raised to minus 1 half dt. And also the limits of integration will also change. These are the limits of x equal to 0 and x equal to infinity. So when x equal to 0, we can see if we put here x equal to 0, t equal to 0. And when x equal to infinity, actually we cannot write x equal to infinity because infinity never is equal to something. So when x tends to infinity implies that here t also tends to infinity. So our integration now will become, we will denote this as I to avoid to write again the expression. So 0 to infinity, these are the limits of t, e raised to minus t because e raised to minus x square and x square equal to t. And dx is 1 half t raised to minus 1 half dt. Now we will take 1 half common. So we will have e raised to minus t raised to minus 1 half dt. So you can now see that this integration is exactly same with this integration. E raised to minus x raised to n minus 1 dx. And also I told you last time that here as it is the definite integration, the variable is immaterial. That means you can write y, z, t, whatever you want. Okay. So now comparing with the definition, we can see that here t raised to n minus 1 and x raised to n minus, that means n minus 1 equal to minus 1 half. You can see. So n equal to 1 half. Therefore our integration I will become 1 half gamma 1 half because it is gamma n. So but gamma 1 half is root pi as we discussed in the last lecture. So you can see that this is the solution of the problem and it is very simple. So you note down this solution. Okay, I will draw it out. Now, let us see. Before looking to the number of examples based on gamma function, we discuss about beta function. Beta function. Then we will see its properties as we have seen the properties of gamma function. Okay. After looking at properties, we will derive the relation between beta and gamma function. And after deriving the relation between beta and gamma function, we will solve a number of examples based on both the functions. So here, definition is that the improper integral, as I discussed last time, gamma function was also improper integral and it is also an improper integral. The improper integral, integration 0 to 1. Here the limits are from 0 to 1 and in gamma function the limits were 0 to infinity. X raised to m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to n minus 1 dx is called as beta function. And is denoted by b into bracket m comma n. So here you can see that again the integration is with respect to x. So here variable is immaterial, whether you use y or z or t, whatever, and because these are the limits of x equal to 0 and x equal to 1. So after integration, the value of x we will substitute. That means x will not be there. So only m and n will remain there. So beta is the function of m and n. As you know that this is the function of two variables, just like you might have seen in partial differentiation that the function of x and y. Okay, the function of two variables. So it is also function of m and n. But as it is a special function, so we will denote this by the special symbol b, capital B, bracket m comma n. So it is the function of two variables m and n. Okay, therefore we have beta mn equal to 0 to 1 x raised to m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to n minus 1 dx. And here you note that m and n are greater than 0. As in gamma definition we have seen that n greater than 0. Okay. Now let us see the properties based on beta function. So here prove that one property is that prove that beta mn n comma n equal to beta n comma m. This is very much important property because here the order of m and n is immaterial. That means if you write n first then m, then also it is the same thing. That means here in this definition, if you will put here n and if you put here m, both will give the same answer. So we can also say that it is symmetric in terms of m and n. Symmetric in terms of m and n. Okay, so it is very easy to prove if you want. Actually, normally in examination proofs, the chances of proofs are very less to be asked in the examination. Okay, but however, as it is the simple thing, we will see the proof. So to do this, here in this definition, but before of that, we know that we will have to write down the definition before solving example or doing any performing any proof. We must write down the definition. So we know that beta mn equal to integration 0 to 1 x raised to m minus 1, 1 minus x raised to n minus 1 dx. So here we will put 1 minus x equal to y. That means this 1 minus x equal to y. So that means we are removing x and introducing new variable y. So we will convert the integrand in terms of y only. So dx will also change. So derivative of 1 is 0 and it is minus dx. So and dy, it is dy, and limits will also change. That means when x equal to 0, what will happen? Y equal to, we put x equal to 0 here, so y equal to 1. And when x equal to 1, if we put x equal to 1 here, y equal to 0. So what will happen? Therefore, beta mn will become now 1 to 0, because lower limit is 1 now in terms of y. And x is what? 1 minus y. So 1 minus y raised to m minus 1. And this 1 minus x is y. So y raised to n minus 1. And dx is what? Dx is minus dy. Okay? So now see, this is minus dy. So, and the limits are from 1 to 0. But we want actually from 0 to 1. So due to minus 1, minus sign, we can reverse the sign. And you know the properties of integration, that we can do it. So this is nothing but y raised to n minus 1, 1 minus y raised to m minus 1 dy. Okay? And I have written this as first and this as second. Now you can see that this is exactly same as this definition. Y raised to something, 1 minus y raised to m and m minus 1. So in the definition we have written first m and then n. But here you can see that this is nothing but the value of first n and then m. So we have proved here that beta n comma n equal to beta n comma m. That means we can have, suppose if beta 5 comma 10, then this is same as beta 10 comma 5. So here m and n you can write first or second, there is no problem. Okay? So all of you note down this proof also. Now let us see one more property of beta function. Beta property, beta mn equal to integration 0 to infinity x raised to m minus 1 divided by 1 plus x raised to m plus m dx. So see here, this is the property of beta function which is derived from the definition of beta function. But here you can see that the limits are from 0 to infinity. Sometimes this can also be considered as the definition of beta function. Okay? It is also very easy to prove. And to prove can be done very simply. In the proof, first we should always begin with, we know that, what do we know? We know the definition, beta m comma n equal to integration 0 to 1 x raised to m minus 1 into 1 minus x raised to n minus 1 dx. This definition we know. Actually we want to derive this result. So we will put here x equal to 1 upon 1 plus y. Okay? X equal to 1 upon 1 plus y. Actually this is the substitution. We cannot imagine directly from these two results, but it is assumed and derive this result. So you must remember this substitution. So x equal to this one, so dx will also change. So dx equal to the derivative of this one. We know that the derivative of 1 upon x is minus 1 upon x square. So it has the derivative minus 1 upon 1 plus y whole square. Then the differentiation of this one has 0 and y has dy. Okay, and the limits will also change. That means when x equal to 0, if we put x equal to 0 here, x equal to 1 upon 1 plus y. So 1 plus y equal to 1 upon x. That means y equal to 1 upon x minus 1. So when x equal to 0, what will happen? Here 1 upon 0 means infinity. Infinity minus 1 means infinity. So this tends to infinity. And when x equal to 1, upper limit, then y equal to 1 upon 1 minus 1, that means 0. And therefore our problem will become now I equal to or beta mn equal to. Okay, beta mn equal to, these limits will become now, this is infinity and this is 0. X raised to m minus 1. But what is x? X is 1 upon 1 plus y. So 1 upon 1 plus y whole raised to m minus 1. If we put over here. And then it is 1 minus x, 1 minus 1 plus 1 upon 1 plus y whole raised to n minus 1 dx. But dx is what? Again minus 1 upon 1 plus y whole square dy. So it is very simple. Simply you require to proceed with slight understanding and slowly, so as you can go in a correct way. So here you can see that this is minus sign. So we can reverse out these limits 0 to infinity. And here 1 upon 1 plus y whole raised to m minus 1 whole raised to m minus 1. This is what? If we cross multiply this, then 1 plus y minus 1. That means y. So y raised to n minus 1. Whole power is n minus 1 and divided by 1 plus y. So 1 plus y raised to n minus 1. And it is 1 upon 1 plus y whole square dy. So this is nothing but 0 to infinity. It is y raised to n minus 1. And it is 1 plus y raised to, see here, it is m minus 1 plus n minus 1 plus 2. So minus 1, minus 1, minus 2 plus 2 means they will be cancelled. So we will get m plus n dy. Okay. So now see, this is the result we have obtained. But actually we want here x raised to m minus 1 divided by 1 plus x raised to m plus n. But we know that it is equal to beta mn. But we know that beta mn equal to beta n comma m. So if we interchange the role of m and n, we will get here m minus 1 and here n plus m. But n plus m and n plus n both are same. Both are same. So this is exactly equivalent to 0 to infinity y raised to m minus 1 divided by 1 plus y raised to m plus n dy. Okay, and this is the value. So if you want to write down this in more correct way, then you can replace y by x also. Y by x also, because as I told you that it is definite integration. So we can have any variable in the integrand. Integrand means the function inside the integration. This is known as integrand. Integrand. Okay. So you also note down this proof. It is also very easy. Whether if you will not remember the proof, then there is no matter. But you must remember this formula because it is useful to solve the examples. Now let us see one more property of beta mn. Beta m comma n equal to 2 integration 0 to pi by 2 sin raised to 2m minus 1 theta into cos raised to 2n minus 1 theta d theta. So here this is the property of beta in terms of sin and cos. Actually we can also consider this as definition. Then we can derive from this one the main formula which we have considered in the definition. So reversely you can use as the definition. As I told you that in gamma function we have 0 to infinity e raised to minus x, x raised to n minus 1 dx. This was the definition. But we have also derived one result, e raised to minus x square into x raised to 2n minus 1 dx. So sometimes this can also be considered as the definition and we can derive this result. If we know this, we can derive this result. But here in the chapter we will consider this as the original definition. So the proof of this property is also very easy. First of all, we will write down that we know that beta m n equal to 0 to 1 x raised to m minus 1 1 minus x raised to n minus 1 dx. Actually we want to convert this problem in terms of sine and cosine. So here in this proof we will put x equal to sine square theta. So what will happen? If we put x equal to sine square theta, then dx will also change. So dx is nothing but here the derivative of sine square is 2 sine theta. Again the derivative of sine theta is cos theta into d theta. Okay? So this is our dx. The limits will also change. That means when x equal to 0, we have, if we put here x equal to 0, sine theta equal to 0. But we know that sine theta is 0 when theta equal to 0. And x equal to 1, this implies what will happen? X equal to 1 if we put here, then sine theta equal to 1. But sine theta equal to 1 when theta equal to pi by 2. Okay? So therefore, we will have beta m n, we will put all these values in this definition. 0 to pi by 2, x is sine square theta. Sine square theta, that means it will become, the power will become 2m minus 2 theta. This is 1 minus cos x. 1 minus x means what? 1 minus sine square theta. And 1 minus sine square theta is cos square theta. So this is nothing but cos raised to 2m minus 2 theta. Okay? And the dx is what? 2 sine theta cos theta d theta. So from this we will take 2 common. Then we will have 0 to pi by 2 sine raised to. Here you can see that it is power 2m minus 2 and here the power is 1. So 2m minus 2 plus 1. 2m minus 2 plus 1 is 2m minus 1. Similarly here cos raised to 2n minus 2 and here the power of cos is 1. So this is 2n minus 1 theta. Okay? So you can see that the result has been derived. And it is very simple derivation. And also you remember this as the formula. As I told you to remember these two formula. And here are the three formulas. Main definition. Second thing, we obtain integration from 0 to infinity x raised to m minus 1 upon 1 plus x raised to m plus n dx. And the third one is beta m comma n equal to this. You can see on the board. Now let us see one result. Relation between beta and gamma functions. So the relation is what? This is beta m comma n equal to gamma m into gamma n divided by gamma m plus n. Okay, and you must use this symbol for gamma. You don't use the symbol of the type square root. Okay, so this is the relation. The proof of this relation we will not see over here. Simply you will have to remember the relation between beta and gamma function into this form, because it is very much useful to solve the problems. Now let us see one small derivation from this relation. Derivation. Here in this formula we will put m and n equal to 1/2. So what will happen, that let us see. So here we have, and we will also make the use of this definition. So in this definition we will have beta 1/2 comma 1/2, m and n both are 1/2, 0 to pi by 2, sin raised to, here m equal to 1/2, m equal to 1/2, so 2 and 2 will be cancelled, so 1 minus 1 is 0, sin raised to 0 theta. Similarly here if we put n equal to 1/2, we will get cos raised to 0 theta d theta. But we know that beta m comma n equal to this one, gamma n into gamma n. So gamma m is 1/2, gamma 1/2 divided by gamma m plus n. So 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1, and this is nothing but 0 to pi by 2. This is 1, this is 1, so it is d theta. So now what will happen? Gamma 1 is 1. In the last lecture we already discussed gamma 1 is 1. So this is what gamma 1/2 whole square equal to 2. The integration of this one is theta, because there is no function inside it, and the limits are from 0 to pi by 2. And therefore if we put the values, what will we get? Pi by 2. This is pi by 2. Okay, and minus 0. So the value is pi by 2. 2 and 2 will be cancelled. So it is the value of gamma 1/2 whole square. So therefore gamma 1/2 equal to square root of pi, and this value is what that we were using earlier. Okay, so this is the derivation of the value gamma 1/2. So you remember here that gamma 1/2 equal to root pi. So in examination sometimes small examples will come, just like to find out the value of beta 9 by 2 comma 7 by 2. Find out its value. So to find out its value, we cannot find out directly by using the definition of beta. For that we need to convert this in terms of gamma, because gamma, evaluation of gamma we have already seen. So here m equal to 9 by 2, n equal to 7 by 2. So this is gamma 9 by 2 into gamma 7 by 2 divided by gamma 9 by 2 plus 7 by 2. Okay, so what will happen? Gamma 9 by 2. Last time I told you the recurrence relation of gamma function, gamma n plus 1 equal to n gamma n, or else we can also write this as gamma n equal to n minus 1 into gamma n minus 1. So we will make the use of this recurrence relation to solve gamma 9 by 2. So n equal to 9 by 2, n equal to 9 by 2. So 9 by 2 minus 1. 9 by 2 minus 1 means 7 by 2 into gamma 7 by 2 into gamma 7 by 2. But I told you that the use of recurrence relation is that we can use the same relation recursively. That means repeatedly. So to find out into, actually it is here into gamma 7 by 2. But I will not write this here because I want to find out the values in continuous way. So gamma 7 by 2 we can find again by using this one. So here we put n equal to 7 by 2. So 7 by 2 minus 1. 7 by 2 minus 1 is what? 5 by 2. Into gamma 5 by 2. Into gamma 5 by 2. Into here it will be gamma 5 by 2. But this gamma 5 by 2 again we can find out by using the same. If we put here n equal to 5 by 2, 5 by 2 minus 1, that means 3 by 2. Into gamma 3 by 2. Into gamma 3 by 2. Then again we put 3 n equal to 3 by 2. So 3 by 2 minus 1, that means into 1 half. Into gamma 1 half. Into gamma 1 half. We will stop here because we know the value of gamma 1 half. Already we derived the value earlier. Then gamma 7 by 2 has the value. We will use this formula. N equal to 7 by 2. 7 by 2 minus 1. That means 5 by 2. Into gamma 5 by 2. But gamma 5 by 2 has again the value. Again the value 5 by 2 minus 1. That means 3 by 2. Into gamma 3 by 2. But gamma 3 by 2 has again the value 3 by 2 minus 1. 1 half. Into gamma 1 half. Okay? And divided by here. 9. This is what? 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 by 2. That means 8. Okay? So what will happen now? This is nothing but 7 into 5 into 3 into 1 into 5 into 3 into 1. And gamma 1 half is root pi. This is also root pi. So root pi into root pi is pi. And this is what? 2, 4 times 6, 7, 8. 2 raised to 8. And gamma 8 is what? We know that 7 factorial. Gamma 8, because when n is positive integer, then we know that gamma n equal to n minus 1 factorial. Okay, so it is 7 factorial. So we can find out the value in this way. And you can cancel out the values whatever is there, because 7 factorial you can write as 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So if it is possible, then you can cancel out. Otherwise, if it is difficult to cancel out the terms and if the numbers are very large, then you can put the answer into this form only. So here 7 and 7 will be cancelled, this 5 and 5 will be cancelled, this 3 and 3 will be cancelled. And then what will happen? This is what? 5 3s are 15. 15 pi. Divided by, this is 4 2s are, that means 2 square into 2, 2 cube. That means it is what? 2 raised to 11. Okay? So, it is 4 times and it is 3 times. 2 raised to 7 times, sorry. 2 raised to 7 times. So, it is 10. It is 10. 2 raised to 10. Okay? So, we can find out the answer in this way, and this kind of example can be asked in the examination. So, you must remember this one. Similarly, you can solve, suppose if you are asked to find out beta 5 comma 3, then you can convert this into gamma form. That means gamma 5 gamma 3 divided by gamma 5 plus 3. So gamma 5 is what? 4 factorial. Gamma 3 is what? 2 factorial. One number is less. And 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 means 7 factorial. So you can find out the value in this way by using the relation between beta and gamma function. Okay? Now, let us see one more formula, duplication formula. Duplication formula. Actually, before of that, this formula also actually it is Legendre duplication formula, but normally we use the word duplication only. If Legendre duplication formula is used, then you don't get confused because this is same as duplication formula. Okay, so duplication formula, we will not see the proof of this one, only formula can be asked to write down. This formula is also very easy to remember. Gamma n plus 1 half, actually gamma n plus 1 into gamma n plus 1 half equal to root pi upon 2 raised to 2n into gamma 2n plus 1. The proof is easy, but here we will not see the proof because it is not asked in the examination. Okay. So gamma n plus 1 or this formula can also be put into the simplified form because we know that gamma n plus 1 equal to n gamma n. Okay. N plus 1 half we will keep as it is. Root pi upon 2 raised to 2n into this is written as gamma n plus 1 equal to n gamma n. So 2n into gamma 2n. This can be written as 2n into gamma 2n. So here this n and this n will be cancelled. So we will have gamma n into gamma n plus 1 half equal to root pi upon 2 raised to 2n. This is 2. So we will take this in denominator. So 2n minus 1 into gamma 2n. Okay. So this is the simplified form of the gamma function. So you can write any one formula from this one. Okay. So now we will derive one result from this one. One result that is actually nothing but the value. Here in this duplication formula, we will put n equal to 1 by 4. 1 by 4. So what will happen, that let us see. So if we put 1 by 4 here, then it will become gamma 1 by 4. It is become 1 by 4 plus 1 half root pi divided by 2 raised to. Here it is 1 by 4, n equal to 1 by 4. So 2 by 4 means 1 half. 1 half minus 1 is 2 raised to minus 1 half. And it is 1 by 4. So 2 by 4 means gamma 1 half. So what will we get? It is gamma 1 by 4. And this is what? 1 by 4 plus 1 half is what? 1 by 4 plus this is 2 by 4. This is 2 by 4. So 3 by 4. So this is gamma 3 by 4. And it is root pi. And this we can take in numerator. So 2 raised to minus 1 half will become root 2. And this is what? Root pi. Gamma 1 half is root pi. So this is nothing but root 2 into pi. See, pi is not in square root sign now. So you will have to remember the value of this one because it is also coming with both gamma together will come in example, some example. So whenever we are getting gamma 1 by 4 into gamma 3 by 4, then we will have to put its value root 2 into pi simply. Okay. So here again you can remember this value, and this is derived from duplication formula. So you note down this. Then we will see Euler reflection formula. Euler reflection formula. Simply you will have to remember this. If you don't remember this, then also no problem because it has very less chance to come in the examination. And without proof, we will write down only gamma n into gamma 1 minus n equal to pi upon sine n pi. This is known as Euler reflection formula, pi upon sine n pi. So you remember this formula. But important is to remember duplication formula, either in this form or in this form. It is the best way to remember. Gamma n into gamma n plus 1 half equal to root pi upon 2 raised to 2n minus 1 into gamma 2n. And also you remember this value, gamma 1 by 4, gamma 3 by 4 equal to root 2 pi. So all of you note down this one. The more examples based on
both functions, beta function and gamma function, we will see in the next lecture. Okay.